stories of human emotion and trial and tribulation and overcoming adversity and challenging ideas and uncovering the mysteries of the universe and space travel. All of those are not by themselves protectable.
This is a community-supported legal education channel. Find out how you can support our mission at the links in the description below.
Hello everyone, I'm Leonard French, your favorite copyright attorney, and I just got word that the Southern District of New York has ruled on Anas Osama Ibrahim Abdin's lawsuit against CBS Broadcasting over the Tardigrades series of episodes in Star Trek Discovery. They have ruled against him and in favor of CBS Broadcasting. So let's take a look at the opinion of Lorna G. Schofield, District Judge for the Southern District of New York. And we're going to try reading it in this sort of fashion where I should be able to have highlights for you as we go along. Let's go. Plaintiff Anas Osama Ibrahim Abdin filed the third amended complaint on January 15th, 2019 against CBS Broadcasting and or CBS Corp or CBS Interactive or Netflix. The third amended complaint alleges that defendants violated the Copyright Act 17 U.S.C. Section 101 et sequitur by copying plaintiff's concept for an unreleased science fiction video game Tardigrades in their Star Trek Discovery television series. Pursuant to the Federal Rule of Civil Procedure 12b-6, defendants moved to dismiss the third amended complaint on the ground that Star Trek Discovery is not substantially similar to plaintiff's video game as a matter of law. As discussed below, defendant's motion is granted. The facts below are drawn from the third amended complaint and its exhibits, which include all available images and video and audio footage of the video game and other evidence integral to the complaint, which includes all 15 episodes of the television series' first season. The facts are construed in the light most favorable to the plaintiff as the non-moving party. Plaintiff's concept for the video game Tardigrades. Between May 2014 and September 2017, plaintiff published draft designs, videos, and descriptions of the video game on his personal website, YouTube, and other popular websites. Plaintiff has compiled these materials in a video file with the file name Exhibit K to H. The video compilation, comprising approximately 30 minutes of 23 separate YouTube videos, followed by static blog posts from 2 websites. None of the contents of the video compilation is alleged to be registered for copyright. On June 28, 2018, plaintiff registered for copyright a distillation of the game concept which was first published July 12, 2017. Plaintiff claims, and it is assumed, for purposes of this motion, that the video compilation and distillation are the protected work that defendants allegedly infringed. The video game itself has not yet been released. Nevertheless, for ease of reference, plaintiff's allegedly protected work hereafter is collectively referred to as the video game. The video game follows Carter, a blonde male botanist who lives on a space station, Marcy 3, which orbits the planet Jupiter. Other characters are Aziz, a technician with a dark complexion who is gay, Kat, a blonde engineer, Yolanda, a black woman who is the space station's communications engineer, and Natasha, a red-haired woman whom plaintiff describes as a bad girl. The game is set around the year 20,000 BC, when civilization is about to discover galactic travel, and the deserts of South Egypt and Ethiopia are green and full of advanced technology. Carter communicates with others and explores the space station, the outer space, and planet terrains to solve puzzles. The player decides Carter's mood as he completes tasks which may alter the video game's storyline. The storyline has a plot twist and deals with slavery, secrecy, espionage, and other issues. One video suggests that the game involves an alien race that knows the origins of the universe. Another suggests that Carter has superpowers. In early 2015, plaintiff changed the video game's title from Epic to Tardigrades 2 and introduced Tardigrades to the game series as reflected in or about the last 10 minutes of the video game compilation. These 10 minutes contain 2 video snippets depicting plaintiff's tardigrade. The first is the closing sequence to each of the videos showing a small tardigrade fading into the background and lasting approximately 1 second. The second is a 13-second sequence in a single video that shows a massive deep blue tardigrade standing upright that grabs Carter from behind with its 8 limbs and envelops Carter within itself before crawling off into space. The same sequence appears on 2 pages of the distillation. In the blog post announcing the name change, Plaintiff describes tardigrades as indestructible. He states that despite their little size, tardigrades can survive temperatures from just above absolute zero up to and above the boiling point of water, can survive extreme conditions of radiation and the vacuum of space, and can go without food or water for more than 10 years. The blog post asks, who else can travel in space like tardigrades? Although unexplained, it can be surmised that Carter, enveloped within the tardigrade, is also protected from the conditions of space. Despite the allegation in the third amended complaint, the video game does not suggest that Plaintiff's tardigrade is capable of instantaneous space travel. A June 2015 blog post announced a change to the video game's logo, describing it as a combination of the water bear, a colloquial name for the tardigrade, posing as an ancient Egyptian scarab holding a crook and a flail accessorized with 2 wings. And now on to Defendant's television series, Star Trek Discovery. The television series first aired on September 24, 2017, and follows the same themes as earlier Star Trek television shows and movies. The protagonist is Michael Burnham, a Vulcan-raised human black woman who fights for the United Federation of Planets on a spaceship in a war against the alien Klingons. Other characters are Captain Philippa Georgiou, an Asian woman who shares a close bond with Burnham, Captain Gabrielle Lorca, a white man with a hawkish disposition, Sylvia Tilly, an anxious young woman with red hair, Paul Stamets, a blonde white man who is an astromecologist, someone who studies space-based fungi and is gay, and Hugh Colber, a doctor with a dark complexion who is Stamets' partner. A storyline early in the first season involves an advanced technology called the Displacement Activated Spore Hub Drive. The dash drive connects to a mycelial network that spans the galaxy and allows a spacecraft to travel instantaneously to any location. The dash drive, however, does not work until Burnham, Stamets, and Tilly find an alien tardigrade and learn that its unique genetic makeup allows it to navigate through the mycelial network. Yep, that's why we need to put airplane mode on for these things. The dash drive, however, does not work until Burnham, Stamets, and Tilly find an alien tardigrade and learn that its unique genetic makeup allows it to navigate through the mycelial network because of its symbolic relationship with the mycelium spores. The alien tardigrade is named Ripper and is a polar bear-sized cousin of the microscopic Earth tardigrade. Although the alien tardigrade is often lit in electric blue light, it is not blue. It is greenish-brownish with 4 pairs of clawed limbs and body armor segments with tentacles. The alien tardigrade is at first violent, but Burnham discovers that it is normally docile. Burnham also learns that the alien tardigrade feels pain when Captain Lorca uses it to travel instantaneously through space. Rather than harm the creature, Stamets chooses to inject himself with the alien tardigrade's DNA so that he, instead of the entrapped tardigrade, can connect to the dash drive. Michael and Tilly ultimately release the alien tardigrade into space, and the creature flies away through the subspace mycelial spore network. Episodes 4 and 5 are the only episodes of the 15-episode series in which Ripper, the only tardigrade-like creature in the series, makes more than a fleeting appearance. The show interweaves storylines about the Klingon War and intergalactic travel with storylines about the personal struggles of its lead characters. Burnham carries guilt over her prior acts of mutiny and dual identity as a human born on Vulcan. Tilly feels anxiety as a young member of the space crew. Stamets struggles to balance his professional ambitions with his personal relationships with Colber. The television series also follows the story of a Klingon named Vok, whom other Klingons disrespect because of the color of his skin. Standard. On a motion to dismiss, the court accepts as true all well-pleaded factual allegations and draws all reasonable inferences in favor of the non-moving party. To withstand dismissal, a pleading must contain sufficient factual matter accepted as true to state a claim to relief that is plausible on its face. Where the disputed works are attached to or incorporated by reference in the complaint, a district court can consider the similarity between those works in connection with a motion to dismiss because the court has before it all that is necessary in order to make such an evaluation. In a copyright infringement action, the works themselves supersede and control contrary descriptions of them, including any contrary allegations, conclusions, or descriptions of the works contained in the pleadings. In order to establish a claim of copyright infringement, a plaintiff with a valid copyright must demonstrate that 1. The defendant has actually copied the plaintiff's work, and 2. The copying is illegal because a substantial similarity exists between the defendant's work and the protectable elements of the plaintiff's. On a motion to dismiss, a district court may assume that actual copying by defendants occurred and proceed to the question of substantial similarity. Discussion. Defendant's motion to dismiss is granted because Star Trek Discovery and plaintiff's video game are not substantially similar as a matter of law in concept, characters, settings, and overall feel. In particular, the tardigrade in Star Trek Discovery is not substantially similar to plaintiff's tardigrade in concepts, attributes, and overall feel. Substantial similarity applicable law. The Copyright Act gives owners of a copyright exclusive rights to protect original works of authorship. Not all elements of a work are entitled to copyright protection. Copyright does not protect an idea, only the expression of an idea. Similarly, scène faire, or elements of a work that are indispensable or at least standard in the treatment of a given topic, like cowboys or bank robbers and shootouts in stories of an American West, get no protection. Also, as the TAC concedes, facts, including scientific facts, are not protected because they do not owe their origin to an act of authorship. The protectable elements of plaintiff's work are the arrangement of the diagrams, the shapes, the colors, not the actual scientific information being conveyed. The standard test for substantial similarity between two items is whether an ordinary observer, unless he set out to detect the disparities, would be disposed to overlook them and regard the aesthetic appeal as the same. A more discerning test applies when a plaintiff's work contains both protectable and unprotectable elements. Courts are not to consider the protectable elements of the two works in isolation. Such a scattershot approach cannot support a finding of substantial similarity because it fails to address the underlying issue, whether a lay observer would consider the works as a whole substantially similar to one another. In applying either test, the task is to compare holistically the work's total concept and overall feel, as instructed by our good eyes and common sense. To aid the court in its determination of substantial similarity, the court must examine similarities in total concept and feel, theme, characters, plot, sequence, pace, and setting. And the court starts with the concept and the plot. The television series has a clear and fully constructed concept that develops across 15 episodes and builds up over 5 generations of Star Trek content. The Federation's intergalactic missions and Klingon antagonism to the Federation has been part of Star Trek since the first season of the original series. The original series also has characters with personal story arcs and who build relationships with others. Tilly, for example, builds confidence and friendship with Stamets as the first season progresses. In contrast, the video game's concept is unclear, as only discrete and unconnected videos and images of the game are available. The video compilation describes the game as being in the early stages of production. Both the video game and television series employ concepts that are associated in popular culture with the tardigrade and not original to plaintiff's work. The video game is set in space at a time where space travel is common and supernatural forces are present. The game's purpose is to guide Carter and others so that they may be able to witness their civilization shifting into a higher type. The television series is also set in space at a time when space travel is common. Through the first season, the USS Discovery's goal is to protect the Federation and defeat the Klingon opposition in the war. As is common in Star Trek productions, many of the main characters in the television series also seek to explore and better understand the universe. Supernatural forces, war games, and space exploration are all scène faire in science fiction dramatizations about space and not protectable. Both the video game and the television series include a large tardigrade that can fly through space and interact with the characters. These concepts are not original to the video game. Since at least 2007, tardigrades have been identified as the first known animal to survive unprotected in outer space. A 2010 children's fantasy novel titled The Search for Wandla includes a gargantuan tardigrade that interacts with the characters and can fly. A YouTube video from 2015, Captain Tardigrade, depicts a human tardigrade that flies in a spaceship and calls tardigrades virtually indestructible. Episodes from March and April 2014 of the non-fiction television series Cosmos: A Space-Time Odyssey feature discussions of tardigrades' unique ability to survive in space. These conceptual similarities of tardigrades flying in space are thus not copyrightable elements of a video game and cannot constitute the basis for copyright infringement. A fundamental rule of copyright law is that it protects only original works of authorship, those aspects of the work that originate with the author himself. The tardigrade in both the video compilation and the television series assists humans with spaceflight, but in completely different ways. The video compilation's 13-second clip of the tardigrade shows the tardigrade enveloping Carter in something like a bear hug before floating off into space. In the television series, Stamets gains the tardigrade's power to travel through the mycelial network by injecting himself with the tardigrade's DNA. The injection gives Stamets supernatural powers, but also causes him serious physical harm. These clips are small pieces of each work that do not alone represent each work's concept and plot. But more importantly, there is no similarity between how the video game tardigrade envelops Carter and how Stamets injects himself with tardigrade DNA. The plots of both works are similar solely to the extent that the characters go on adventures in space and some of the adventures involve alien tardigrades. This common storyline of adventuring through space and discovering aliens is a scène affaire common to works that involve space travel, just as cowboys, bank robbers, and shootouts in stories of the American West get no protection, alien contact in fictional stories about space adventures gets no protection. Moreover, the television series plot also involves subjects that are not part of the video game, the war between the Federation and Klingons, and the personal struggles of individual characters that involve redemption, growth, and fitting in as an outsider. Onto the characters. In determining whether characters are similar, the court looks at the totality of the character's attributes and traits, as well as the extent to which the defendant's characters capture the total concept and feel of figures in plaintiff's work. The tardigrade in the video game and the television series share many of the same characteristics as the real-life microscopic tardigrade. All three have 8 short legs that run in pairs along a rounded belly, all three have an O-shaped mouth in the center of the face, and all three are capable of surviving in space without protection. These are non-protectable facts about the tardigrade and cannot provide the basis for copyright infringement. Beyond the unprotectable physical attributes of actual tardigrades, the differences between plaintiffs' and defendants' tardigrades defeat any finding of substantial similarity. The video game tardigrade is large and deep blue. The logo directly links the tardigrade to a scarab beetle, a figure in ancient Egyptian culture associated with immortality, transformation, and protection. The tardigrade's power to envelop Carter and thereby transform and protect him in space suggests that it is a powerful creature that characters in the video game venerate. The television series tardigrade is also a large space traveler, but the similarities end there. Although this tardigrade is lit with a blue light, it is brownish-greenish. More importantly, the tardigrade in the television series does not capture the total concept and feel of the video game's tardigrade. This tardigrade is a creature kept on the USS Discovery against its will that the human characters name and initially seek to exploit for personal gain, and then upon learning that it feels pain, they protect and liberate. It has no godlike attributes and is not venerated, but instead is treated almost like a pet, to be protected and not harmed and not deified. Where the video game tardigrade is best associated with the spiritual symbolism of the scarab beetle, the television series tardigrade is best associated with a beloved but poorly behaved pet dog. The bar for substantial similarity in a character is set quite high, and the similarity between the two tardigrades falls short of this standard. The alleged similarities between other characters in the two work also fails to support a claim, as they are mostly generalized, non-protectable descriptions. Yolanda and Burnham are both black women, Natasha and Tilly both have red hair, Aziz and Culber are both gay and have black hair and facial hair, Stamets and Carter are blonde men who work in a field of biology. Courts have denied claims of substantial similarity when comparing characters who are far more similar than these. And the court cites several cases, Cable or Kabul versus Sony Pictures Entertainment. The court granted summary judgment to the defendant where the main characters were both military-trained hairstylists who fight crime and wield hair dryers as weapons. I think that's supposed to be wield. Ditoko versus Riordan, a 12b6 dismissal where both sets of books chronicle the adventures of a young male protagonist named after the Greek hero Perseus set in modern times. And Hogan v. DC Comics, granting summary judgment where the main characters in both works were named Nicholas Gaunt and were born half vampire. And then there's that video that I saw from Today I Found Out, where it turned out that there were two artists who both created Dennis the Menace at the exact same time. I'll see if I can remember to put a bubble in the thing, and you can go click on that if you want to hear about that. That's a pretty good video. The settings of the video game and television series are similar, but the similarity is not actionable. The video game is set in a spacecraft orbiting a planet that has the capacity to house large crew. The main set for the television series is also a spaceship, the USS Discovery, that has the capacity to house a large crew. The characters in both works leave these main settings to explore outer space and planets. However, these similarities are scène faire for science fiction set in outer space. A fundamental rule of copyright law is that it protects only original works of authorship and those aspects of the work that originate with the author themselves. On to the court's opinion about the overall feel. The difference between the two works is also notable at the macro level. The television series is not substantially similar to the video game after holistically comparing the work's overall feel as instructed by good eyes and common sense. The television series builds on over 5 decades of Star Trek movies and television shows to represent Starfleet adventures in a new era. Characters use similar terminology and technology and wear similar badges. Overarching themes from prior renditions such as multiculturalism, the importance of loyalty, and the struggle to balance reason and emotion are prevalent here. And the television series consistently alludes to characters and events from prior Star Trek shows. For example, there is a recurring reference in the show to the USS Defiant, a spaceship from the Star Trek television show Deep Space Nine, and one episode references the popular Vulcan character Spock. The conflict at the very center of the television series, the war between the Federation and Klingons, makes little sense without background knowledge about the Star Trek universe. The video game lacks this overall feel. The disparate videos and images do not easily evince a single coherent plot line. Nevertheless, there is no suggestion that this story follows a war between dueling world orders or that the characters engage with the themes prevalent in Star Trek. It is at least clear that the video game follows Carter, who solves mysteries to uncover information about the universe and fellow characters. And the story also seems to deal with slavery, with secrecy, and espionage. This is not enough to conclude that the overall feel of the video game is substantially similar to that of the television series. Other purported similarities. The complaint includes a list of 11 purported similarities between the two works. Most of these are discussed above. The remaining similarities are disparate and not essential to the overall feel or understanding of the television series. The video game features Egyptian cultural influences and supernaturalism. Episode 1 of the television series includes Egyptian iconography on one of the spaceships, but nothing further. In the video game, Carter is sometimes immersed in glowing blue light, and at least once walks through an astroplane environment. Stamets also sometimes is immersed in a glowing blue light, and Burnham once walks through an astroplane. In both works, the characters' uniforms delineate status and rank, and their spacesuits have a large headpiece. These similarities do not change the calculus. They do not provide a sufficient basis to find substantial similarity between the works' total concept and feel. For the foregoing reasons, defendant's motion is granted. The clerk of court is respectfully directed to close all outstanding motions and terminate the case. September 20th, New York, New York. So that's really interesting. The Anas Abdeen Tardigrades story did not reach levels of protectable copyrighted elements, did not have enough to be protected by copyright, basically. So it's not that someone could go copy exactly what Anas Abdeen did, how he has expressed his version of those scenes, the scène affaire, but that he doesn't own the copyright on space stories with tardigrades in that general sense. So for there to be a substantial similarity between the Star Trek Discovery plotline and his Tardigrades video game plotline and other elements, those elements would have to reach a level of protected elements of expression, and things like stories of human emotion and trial and tribulation and overcoming adversity and challenging ideas and uncovering the mysteries of the universe and space travel. All of those are not by themselves protectable. Your further expression within that universe, within that expression, or within that scene, that expression is what's protected by copyright. But only is it a violation of your copyright. The only time it's a violation of your copyright is when someone creates a work that is substantially similar to yours and they had access to your work. Like I said about the Dennis the Menace thing, it is possible to create two completely independent works that are substantially similar, as long as you didn't have access to each other's production, access to each other's copyrighted work, then you aren't guilty of copyright infringement. Only if there is actual copying or access and substantial similarity. That means that Anas Abdeen's works aren't being infringed by Star Trek Discovery. Even if they were influenced by his ideas about using a tardigrade, even if they saw his blog post, even if they saw his YouTube videos, they could still create their own tardigrades in outer space story. And that means that even Star Trek doesn't own the concepts here either. They own the Star Trek expression of it. So you can't call it Star Trek. You probably can't have a Captain Kirk that acts like Captain Kirk from the original series. You probably can't have a Dr. Spock. You can't have Vulcans. You can't have Klingons. Those things belong to Star Trek. They belong to Gene Roddenberry's estate, and that's the copyrighted expression. What's not copyrighted is space travel stories. So Seth MacFarlane is totally in the clear with the Orville. He can make a very Star Trek-like outer space adventure story TV series. But what he can't do is start using Star Trek's expression of those generalized scenes, those scène affaire, the unprotectable, copyrighted, unprotectable, uncopyrightable settings. And that includes the human body and the general idea of overcoming or learning, etc. So that's what the judge had to say there. I think that's a very fair assessment of the situation. I was on the fence. I was rooting for the underdog a little bit, but I was rooting in the general sense, I didn't really believe that he had something protectable. I was hoping maybe he could show the court and then the court would reveal to us that he had something, but he really didn't have anything to show substantial similarity between the two works. So what do you think? Do you think that that was the correct ruling? Do you think that the judge got it wrong? You might be able to go back and review the materials. There's certainly lots of exhibits in the case. You're going to find those on Pacer or other court docket aggregation sites. Be careful, though, because sometimes the court charges a lot for those documents, about 10 cents a page. So see if you can find them for free before you pay for them. So let us know what you think in the comments below. Thank you very much to our supporters on patreon.com/ljfrench and sponsors.com/law. Thank you to Joshua Davis and TandaPay, who are supporting our channel as a sponsor in the month of September. Thank you to our $50 plus supporters, John Steele, Gavin Barnard, Kyle Mudrak, Eevi, Michael Pearce, Spirit Bear, Jan Negrey, Daniel Perez, Snorre Wisotzky, Joe Tyson, and Blackleaf. And thank you to the $5 plus supporters who are scrolling on the screen in front of me. And I'll leave you at that. I'll leave you with some travel video from Luxembourg, and I will see you on Sunday. Love you all. Bye.
I think you should stay. I think you should souls in the moonlight. I stare into your eyes, and you into mine, lying perfectly still, like we have frozen time. I don't want this to be over, don't want the morning to come. My head upon your shoulder, wishing that you would say, I think you should stay, I think you should stay. I want you to say that it's getting late. I want you to stay, I want you to
There's your Luxembourg hat.
Yes.
There's my Luxembourg hat. Yep.
My
I dropped the
Luxembourg
phone.
t-shirts.
Your Luxembourg t-shirt. And we're on a train. It's a nice train. Look at this. There's nobody on the train with us.
That's my shoe.
And